when we're talking about retirement realities today. Of course, those realities are changing for future generations, and a Wells Fargo study reveals today's retirees are the last demographic to experience their golden years shaped by forces of the prior century. The survey notes 86% of today's U.S. retirees are living primarily off their Social Security or pension. And younger generations are starting to take notice. While current retirees started saving around 40, the millennials are on average beginning to save at age 25. So that seems to be a good thing, but is it? We'll discuss. Joining us now is the founder and CEO of Ubiquity Retirement and Savings, Chad Parks. Chad, good to see you.
Exactly. Thanks.
Is that a good thing? I mean, we're seeing millennials start to think about retirement a little bit earlier. Why is that such a positive?
Well, it's definitely a positive because they've seen what not to do, right? And I want to ask Jack, do you have a pension from the NFL?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Aren't you glad you have that?
Thank God, man.
Yeah. So, you know, the reality of our retirement today is what we call the three-legged stool, which is pensions, Social Security, and personal savings. And millennials absolutely are not, as the study says, counting on anything to do with Social Security, nor was it meant to be the primary source of your income. They're never going to see a pension. They probably can't even spell pension.
I could spell it.
I
could spell it.
Okay, oops, sorry. I checked myself, so sorry. But so the onus is on you, the individual, and the sooner you can start saving, the better off you're going to be because you have time on your side.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, obviously it's a good thing that people are starting to save sooner, but is there any downside at all? Because obviously when you have a pension or Social Security, your own money that you've put in is also either matched or backed by an employer or the government. Right. So what is the negative on me or Zach or another millennial out there relying solely on themselves and their own savings to try to have a nest egg for retirement?
Yeah, I think it's the struggle of priorities of your money today, right? You know, you earn a certain amount of money, you have to pay taxes, you have housing expenses, you have life expenses, and where does retirement savings fit into that? And you know, I'm always arguing that you have to pay yourself first. You know, put your budget together. First thing is put some money away for retirement, then pay your bills, then have you go out and happy hour money. You know what I mean? But everybody does it differently. Everyone says, I'm going to pay my bills, I'm going to go out and have happy hour, and I don't have any money left to save, right? So there really isn't a negative. And I think you have talked on a few points there too. Like if you're lucky enough to have a plan at your job, do take advantage of it. If there's a match, absolutely, because that's free cheese, right? And if you don't have a match, don't not participate because you have the government match, right? The immediate tax savings, people don't understand. So for every $100 you're putting in, the government's going to slide in $20 for you, you know? And that's real. So there really isn't a downside.
What about life expectancy, man? I mean, you look at it, you know, the millennial generation with being so aware of conscious of what they eat, you know, just having all this data, you know, you got to think that we're going to have a life expectancy boom, and especially in our country. How do people plan for that? Because retirement ages, you know, what is a retirement age? I don't want to ever retire. When I'm done working, I want to die. You know, I don't want to have to. I don't ever want to have my mind just sitting here doing nothing.
And millennials think that way too. I mean, we've seen that, right? They expect to work.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. You know, there's no doubt we're living longer. You know, medical advances. What I say about this is that, you know, knowing what number to plan against is an impossibility. So you have to plan for it all. But the idea that we're living longer, our infrastructure, our societal infrastructure is not designed for that. You know, the reason they set Social Security age at 65 was because people died at 65. They were like, no one's ever going to take this. We're good, right? But now we're going to 80, 85. My own grandmother lived to 98 years old. You know, like, how do we plan for that stuff? So it is very, very important. And I do have a strategy. I don't know if we can go into it right now, but basically pick a number, call it 80 years old, plan against that, and then maybe buy a deferred income annuity so that you've got a safety net. So that if you do make it past 80, you at least have that paycheck coming in. You know what I mean? And I'm not an annuity salesman, so don't get me wrong.
Yeah. No, very good to keep in mind, though. And it's all real as we continue to monitor the retirement crisis that we have here, and millennials continue to plan differently. But Chad Parks, thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Taking the time. Appreciate it.